Sister, you can pull your chair to the center. Yeah, little, yeah, center, come to the center. Now fine. Perfect.
Yes, ready? Yes. Take a second. Take a second. Good evening and a warm welcome to all of you, my dear parents, students, and viewers for this webinar on National Education Policy 2020. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, said Nelson Mandela. Believing in this, Government of India approved the National Education Policy 2020 on 29 July 2020, which outlines the vision of India's new education system. The policy is a comprehensive framework for elementary education to higher education, as well as vocational training in both rural and urban India. Any policy will remain a policy if it is not implemented in its true spirit. And so, the government, through various organizations, has initiated the process to make it known to all the stakeholders and has invited suggestions for its implementation. CBSE too has told all its schools to conduct awareness program to the parents, staff, and students. And that is why we are all here on this online platform to know more about this new education policy. This evening, we have amidst us Dr. Flosy DSouza, Professor in Education, St. Anne's PG Studies and Research in Education, as the resource person of the day. Madam Flosy, a warm welcome to you, and I'm happy to introduce you to all our viewers. Dr. Flosy has 27 years of teaching experience at UG and PG level and 25 years of research experience. She has guided more than 250 dissertations of MEd and MA. 7 scholars are awarded PhD in education by Mangalore University, and 2 are pursuing their PhD under her guidance. She has served as a resource person at national conferences organized by several institutions of Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. Completed several research projects as principal investigator funded by UGC, IUCTE, and UBCHE. She has also served as research associate in research projects funded by UNESCO, Xavier Board, and Government of Karnataka. Presented papers at world conferences in education at Europe, USA, Italy, and Thailand. Madam has served as resource person in more than 150 capacity building programs for teacher educators, teachers, parents, and students of primary, secondary, and higher secondary, as well as higher educational institutions. Madam was a part of Commonwealth of Learning project and developed blended instructional material for training teachers, the first of its kind in the country in collaboration with Commonwealth of Learning in Canada. Being an eminent educationist, Madam Flosy is the right person to throw light on National Education Policy 2020 on behalf of our school management, staff, and parents. I accord a warm welcome to you, Madam Flosy, and request you to take over. Dear parents, you can listen to the resource person for some time now. And if you have any question, you can please put it in the chat box. And at the end, there will be some time to discuss on the questions. Over to you, Madam.
Good evening to each one of you gathered around this virtual platform. Thank you, Sister Melissa, for your words of welcome and introduction. It's my great pleasure to be a part of this webinar on creating awareness on new National Policy on Education 2020 to the parents and teachers of Mount Carmel Central School, Mangalore. This prestigious school, run by the Apostolic Carmel management, has made its name for its excellence and for quality education in Mangalore city as well as in Karnataka state. I am sure the parents who are connected with me in this webinar have chosen the best school for their children, as every parent wishes that their child or their children should get the best and the quality education. As the school strives for excellence, the school has to adopt to the new changes that is taking place in the country as proposed by the new National Policy of Education 2020. This is the hot topic of discussion around the country today. There are several conferences webinars and seminars organized by schools, colleges, universities, and several organizations trying to conceptualize the transformative education reforms that are proposed by the policy. Though there are reforms at all levels of education, we shall restrict our discussion for today only on the transformative educational reforms proposed for school education by National Education Policy 2020. In my presentation, I will concentrate on school education reforms and I will go in this sequence. I would like to present before you the need for this new education policy. What is the need of this education policy? And as envisaged by the experts who have drafted this national education policy, what is the need that they felt that we need a new education policy, and what is the vision of this policy according to the experts who have drafted this policy, and what are the major school education reforms that they have proposed or suggested or recommended. And also they have given us timeline for implementation, so we need to reflect on the timeline today and see whether we will be able to meet up to their timeline that is suggested by the national education policy. And also I would like to throw some light on the teacher training that is required, because to transform this policy at the grassroots level, we need good teachers. We need teachers of high quality, and we need to look forward and see what is ahead of us. So I would like to conclude my presentation with way forward. So this will be the overview of my presentation. To begin with, the last policy, national education policy that we encountered was in the year of 1986. It's 33 years after that we have heard of a national education policy. And it was just last year that we heard about the draft National Education Policy 2019. And this was as a result of a committee that was set up by MHRD in the month of June 2017 under the chairmanship of Dr. Krishnaswamy Kasturi Rangan. We have all heard of this great man, Krishnaswamy Kasturi Rangan, and most popularly called as Kasturi Rangan Committee, which is associated with National Education Policy 2020. And the draft that they had written was consisting of 484 pages, and this was kept for public domain. And today it is the source for all details. And it was Dr. M.K. Sridhar, uh, a former member secretary of Karnataka Knowledge Commission, who represented Karnataka in this commission, and he was the one of the members of this national education policy. I had a lot of occasions where I heard Dr. M.K. Sridhar, and in webinars, in seminars, I heard, and I was reflecting on what he was saying about the policy and the hard work that they have put in to have a vision for our country. And Dr. Sridhar, he compared this national education policy to a player who is playing long jump. A player who plays the wrong jump usually uses four phases. In the first phase, he just goes back and takes a runway in the first phase, and then at a particular point, he takes off. And once he takes off, there is a flight, and at the end, there is landing. Similarly, he says we can compare this to the National Education Policy 2020, and he says that they have gone back. They have gone back to the old policies, or the policies that were existing, the reports, the committee reports, and all that possible reports that at a different levels of education. So they have consulted Kothari Commission, National Policy on Education, and all the different 1992 modified policy, as well as the Subramaniam Committee report in 2016. After going through all the policies and then doing a consultation process, this consultation process was not very easy. They had taken lots of consultations with the stakeholders, and they developed 25 themes which need to be concentrated in giving quality education to our country. Around 28 policy reports they reviewed, and also they have taken consultation with the key stakeholders and made a study of the global best practices in education, as well as they have done a literature survey, literature review of the policies of different countries. Only after that they came out with this draft NEP 2019 last year, which was put in public domain, and there were a lot of discussions, lot of criticisms, and lot of give and takes that is taking place, and when this was put in the public domain. And only that in this year July, we heard that, and also we saw the cabinet that approved this national education policy 2020. And what is the focus, or what is the vision of this policy? First of all, the vision is global. When any education policy has a global vision, they keep in mind what is meant by quality education for our whole country. So it is keeping in mind the sustainable developmental goals, which are considered in the policy of every country in the world. Even our policy, National Education Policy 2020, concentrated on this sustainable developmental goals. And this SDG 4, which talks about quality education, was the main aspect that was considered in drafting National Education Policy 2020. Now, in order to provide quality education to this every citizen of India, and to ensure that everybody is included, to ensure inclusivity as well as equitable quality education to every citizen of India, and to promote lifelong learning opportunities for all, was the major vision. And this is going with the SDG goal 4. Now, what is the need of this new policy? And in the words of Kasturi Rangan, he says that we need a new policy. We cannot do with the only fine tuning what existed or the old policies, or taking some things and we try to fine tune. So that was not sufficient, because the world is moving at such a fast pace that we have to catch up with the 21st century. So therefore, he says that we need a new policy, and fine tuning may not be sufficient. So they came up with a vision of India's new education system, which improves the life of each and every citizen of India, and also with their ability to contribute to their country. Each individual, he has the ability to make him able to contribute to the country, and creating a just and equitable society for one another. And so they proposed uh, education structure. They proposed a new regulation and governance. So they have proposed the revision and revamping of all aspects of education, including the structure, the regulation, and the governance, so that the policy goes with the aspirational goals of 21st century education, while remaining consistent with India's traditions and value systems. Now, after the cabinet approved this national education policy on 29th July 2020, many educators and teachers and parents went through this, and it's really a policy which attempts towards transformation. It's something we feel that it's something far away, and it's a very forward looking policy. So you're taking that long jump, you're taking off and taking the flight, and you know where you have to land. So there are targets for the next 2-3 decades. The timeline has been fixed by the visionaries of this policy. So the policy introduces plethora of reforms at all levels of education, starting from as early as the childhood care education, which starts at the age of 3 and then goes up to lifelong learning. So it doesn't end with schooling or university education or getting a job, but it goes as long as you live in this world. So ECCE, which ECCE means early childhood care education, to lifelong learning opportunities. So this is the vision. This is what the policy contains. Now, what are the challenges addressed by this policy? One is universal access to all citizens of the country, universal access to education, equity, education according to the needs of the citizens, quality, to make sure that there are excellent institutions, there are top quality institutions focusing on the learning outcomes, the competencies, the capacities that are required for 21st century classroom, 21st century workforce. At the same time, affordability, to make sure that everyone, whatever differences they have in their socio-economic status, but education should be affordable to all citizens of the country, as well as accountability. The policy gives a lot of opportunities for autonomy. A lot of freedom will be given to the stakeholders, to the students, to the teachers, to the administrators, to the system. But the policy expects accountability from each and every one involved in the system of education. What is the main policy vision? The main policy vision is to give high quality education to all the citizens of India. Secondly, the vision of the policy is to make sure that you feel the pride of being an Indian, so that you have the sense of respect towards the fundamental rights, duties, constitutional values, and having a bonding with a country, with one's own country, and conscious awareness of one's own responsibilities in a changing world. So being more Indian, being local, to have that bonding with the country, with the national integration, the feeling of national integration. And thirdly, being a global citizen, to make sure that we instill the skills, the values, the dispositions through education, so that the citizens are committed towards human rights, sustainable development, and also global well being, and thereby reflecting that they are true global citizens. So, the vision of the policy is giving high quality education and also making sure that you are local, you are Indian, you feel pride to be an Indian citizen, you feel very proud and do everything that's possible for your country. At the same time, have a global vision, think of the global well being, and be a very good global citizen. So, this is the vision of the policy 2020. And we have four sections in this national education policy, four sections. The policy document has four sections. The first section covers school education, the second section covers the higher education, the third sections section covers the additional key focus areas including professional education, technology education, adult education, and other types of education, occasional education. And the fourth aspect, or the fourth section of the policy, speaks about how we can transform education, and that which speaks about the funding that is necessary, from where will the fund comes, and how do we implement this policy. So this is the fourth parts of the policy document. Now, the major reforms. So, we shall only discuss in today's session on the major reforms that are expected to take place in school education as proposed by the National Education Policy 2020. First, coming to the academic structure, the policy has suggested a reform in the academic structure. As we all know that we have been following 10 plus 2 structure. So 10 years, standard 1 to standard 10, and then we have higher secondary or senior secondary, or what we call it as pre-university college, PUC, 2 years. So it is starting from the age of 6 to 18 is the policy, is the existing structure. But now we have a new academic structure proposed by the committee. And according to this, there are stages. There are four stages of this structure. In the first stage, we have foundational stage, and this is foundational stage which includes early childhood care education and also standard 1 and standard 2, where 5 years of foundational stage, which is the child enters the school when he is 3 years old, and then the preschooling starts, and then first stand it covers standard 1 and standard 2, and 2 years of class 1 and class 2 at the age 6 and 8. So from age 3 to 8, he or she will be in foundational stage. And the second stage is called as preparatory stage. Preparatory stage is for 3 years, and this will cover class 3 to class 5, and the age group is 8 to 11. And here the it will be more play based curriculum, discovery and activity based interactive classroom learning. That will be the focus of foundational stage as well as preparatory stage. Then as they go into higher class, 3 years of middle school, which is called as middle stage. And here in this will cover class 6 to class 8, age group 11 to 14 years. And the secondary stage is from class 9 to class 12 for 4 years, and the age covered is 14 to 18. So this structure is basically called as 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 structure. So total it is 15 years. 15 years. So it is, from 12 years of schooling, 3 more years have been added as preschool, and all this comes into the school structure. So the whole, all four stages are a part of the school structure. So this is the new, the pedagogical structure or the reform in the academic structure that is suggested by the policy. So we will have to admit the child at the age of 3 for preschooling or an Anganwadi schools, which will be a part of the school, and then to class 1, class 2, then they will move to preparatory stage, then to middle stage, and then secondary stage. Only after they are 18, they will be moving out to university education. Now, the focus of this policy is mainly at the lower level. So, the early childhood care education, which comes at the foundational level, is where the child is just 3 years old, and this age between 3 and 6, which we call it as formative years. And in this year, see, the 85% of brain development occurs prior to age 6, and therefore whatever happens between 3 and 6 is that's the age which is of critical importance. And therefore the policymakers, the draft, those who have drafted, the experts, feel that appropriate care and stimulation should be provided at this formative age of children, because this will lead to healthy brain development and healthy growth, and this will have tremendous effect in their schooling as well as in their adult life. The national curricular and pedagogical framework for this early childhood care education will be developed by NCERT, and there will be universal access and high quality that will be ensured at this stage of ECCE, and this will be a phased activity that will take place throughout the country. And there will be specially trained teachers who will be recruited to teach the little children in the early childhood care education. The focus of this early childhood care education is to give universal access, so that all children between the age of 3 to 6 years have access to free, safe, and high quality early childhood care education at Anganwadis, in preschools, or also called as and Balavatika. Balavatika is a part of this preschooling, which comes before class 1. They are also called as preparatory class. Preparatory class, also called as Balvatika. This is prior to the age of 5. Every child will move to a preparatory class, that is before class 1. It is to prepare the child ready for school, ready for formal schooling, or ready for school. So that's what they have called it as Balvatikas. And then the foundational learning curriculum will have mainly two parts. From age 3 to 6, ECCE will take care of that, and age 6 to 8, that is class 1 and 2, will be the part of primary school. And the multifaceted curriculum will be followed, and there will be a pedagogy which is activity oriented, inquiry based, and the implementation of this will be in the hands of even women and child development and health and family welfare, and also tribal affairs. The other aspect of the policy is foundational literacy and numeracy. So, when we talk about literacy and numeracy, what do we mean by literacy and numeracy? It is nothing but the ability to read, write, and perform basic operations with numbers. And this takes place at lower level of schooling. And World Bank report 2017 has warned the whole world that there is a learning crisis across the world. And this holds good even to India. And in India, we have seen that the report, World Bank report has said that half the children in grade 5 could not read a text meant for grade 2 children. And hence, the committee felt that we need to concentrate on foundational numeracy and literacy, and there is a urgent need for a national mission for this. Hence, all the states have been asked to prepare an implementation plan in order to achieve the targets of foundational literacy and numeracy by 2025. And also they have mentioned in the report that there will be a national repository of high quality resources that will be available in the Diksha digital platform for teachers in order to make ensure literacy and numeracy in the children. And also they have mentioned that peer tutoring could be taken as a mechanism in order to develop literacy and numeracy among the children. And by taking volunteers from community, we can utilize their time and energy for peer tutoring and make sure that literacy and numeracy is ensured in the lower classes. The next reform is about curriculum and pedagogy in schools. So the curriculum is going to be holistic in nature, uh, covering a number of subjects, and there will be no difference between curricular, extracurricular, or co-curricular. There will be no difference between arts, science, and humanities. So then it will be a holistic vision, and curriculum will be integrated, wherein we look at subjects as a whole, not look at subject as discrete subjects or separate subjects, but look at it as a whole integrated body of knowledge. And also make sure that children are engaged in the learning process rather than only listening to the teacher and reproducing it in the examination and getting marks which are not really making them skill oriented, or not even making giving them an employment. So therefore it is make an effort through curriculum and pedagogy to make sure that all the pedagogy that we use in schools make the students engage in the learning process, as well as make learning enjoyable, make learning fun in the classroom, and learn with lot of happiness, joy, and some sort of collaboration and happiness. Now, the policy also focuses on holistic development, and the aspects considered in this holistic development is the first aspect is knowledge, giving them knowledge, not only knowledge of one subject or two subjects. It is exposure to multiple subjects, especially when they come to secondary schools. Expose them to lot of subjects, disciplines, so that they are sure to make a choice what they want to learn as they go ahead and choose a career. Similarly, the attitude, in order to develop positive mental attitude in the learners. This is very, very important, as we know that the youngsters, the adolescents, they are uh, having a lot of mental health issues, and the adolescents, they do not share their problems with the parents or with others. So the attitude of the mental attitude has to be positive towards themselves, towards life. And no student should think of ending the life. To always know the worth or value of life, and to have a positive mental attitude, as well as develop certain skills, not one or two skills but multiple skills. Expose them to multiple skills, let them learn lot of skills and enjoy their life. At the same time, learn habits, because we really lack in the learning habits and working habits. our students, whether they have good learning habits? Do we track their learning habits? What are the working habits of uh, students as well as teachers? So even the working habits of the teachers need to change in order to give, in order to have holistic development in the learners who are under their care, as well as focusing on values, personal as well as social values. And this is the focus on holistic development as given by the policy. Now, there are four, C's of 21st century skills. The 21st century skills that is expected in the learners is critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. So these are the four skills that every child should develop in their educational endeavor. So whether it is in schooling or in whether they go to higher education, it should be that they should become critical thinkers, creative thinkers who will create and construct knowledge, as well as they know how to live with one another, collaborate, and do teamwork, as well as communicate very clearly in many languages, not one language, but use language as a media of communication, and not to have a hierarchy in the languages. So, apart from this, the 21st century skills also focuses on the four pillars of education given by UNESCO, that you must have already heard of: learning to know, learning to do, learning to live together, and also to learning to be. So, these are the four pillars on which this policy focuses on. The holistic development of learners is nothing but moving towards how to learn. So we have concentrated a lot on learning and learning and what to learn more than how to learn. So now we need to move towards how to learn, so that we are concentrating on the holistic development of learners. So we do not concentrate only on the cognitive development, but we concentrate on character building, character formation of the learners, and also create holistic and well-rounded individuals who are equipped with 21st century skills. And also, the policy focuses that values should be embedded in the teaching learning process. Another reform about the curriculum related to the reduction in curriculum content. So only when there is reduction in the curriculum content, then there will be space for critical thinking. Otherwise, the teachers say that where there is time to ask questions and find solutions for every answer, questions asked by the students, and how to make them critically think. So therefore, the curriculum content will be reduced drastically. Only core essentials will be included in the curriculum, and the teachers will be expected to go for interactive teaching learning, and the classroom sessions will be more fun for children and teachers. It will be more creative, more collaborative, and as well as exploratory in nature. And they have also suggested that we should go in for experiential learning, that is lots of hands-on experiences for children, so that they are able to connect the theory with the practice, and also to integrate the other, which we call it as extracurricular or co-curricular. There is no hard separation. We have to give due importance to art education, sports education, so to try to integrate these learning aspects also as a part of experiential learning, and also to make this classroom transaction to shift from what we are doing to competency based learning. And also to go in for more of a cross cultural or cross curricular pedagogical approach. So whenever we learn a particular subject, instead of leaving the subject to itself in its isolation, we try to connect or see how this what I learned today is related to other subjects. So looking at the cross curricular pedagogical approach, so the teachers have to use what is called as cross curricular pedagogical approach, because the teachers usually look at only their subject, and they don't even know what science teachers have taught. Some teachers don't even see the textbooks of the same class. Other textbooks they have not seen, which means where there is possibility of cross curricular pedagogy. Therefore, the teachers have to look into what my students are learning in other subjects. How can I connect my subject to the other subject that they're learning, so that you can give a holistic view to the children, and that gives them a holistic It's possible to have a holistic development of the learners when they look at the body of knowledge as a whole and not as compartments. Now, what are the other reforms in curriculum and pedagogy in schools? In the preparatory classes, that is from class 3 to 5, the subjects like reading, writing, speaking will be the major focus, and the subjects physical education, arts, language, science, and maths also will be taught to them. And the textbooks will be very light in nature, so that they don't have a very heavy bag to carry to school, and interactive classroom learning will be the focus. And in the middle schools, when they come to middle schools up to the class 8, 6 to 8, there will be subject teachers who will teach the middle class children from 6 to 8, wherein they will get an opportunity to discuss a lot with the subject teachers about the abstract concepts in the subjects that they are learning. And this in the middle class or middle stage, there will be a lot of experiential learning uh, with the subject as well as across the subject. And in a secondary, the focus is on multidisciplinary study. So in class 9 to 12, the focus will be multidisciplinary study, and there will be a lot of choice for the students to choose the subject. And this multidisciplinary study will be built upon the previous stage, that is on the middle stage, what they have learned. And then they will go into the greater depth of what they have already learned. There will be a lot of opportunities for critical thinking, and students will have a lot of choice for selecting their own subject from a group of subjects, majors and minors. And then there will be exit option after grade 10. If any student wants to exit from schooling, he or she can do it. But he also is given an opportunity to re-enter any time in the next phase to pursue vocational and any other course available in grade 11 and grade 12. So there's a lot of student flexibility. When it comes to pedagogical reforms, the way pedagogy is nothing but how to teach, the way the teachers teach in the school. This policy aims at reducing the curriculum load for students, so that there is a greater opportunity to make use of a very attractive pedagogy in the schools, and to be more interdisciplinary and also multilingual by nature. For example, if a student wants to pursue fashion design studies with physics, or if he wants to learn baking course, do a baking learn baking with chemistry, they will be allowed to do so. So there'll be a lot of opportunities, not seeing only the subjects, but art integration, sports integration, and all the other subjects, minor, majors. So there will be so many subjects that will be offered in secondary school, and similar pedagogical reforms will take place. And coding is computer programming. This will be introduced from class 6 itself. And midday meal scheme, which you already have, will be extended. Also, they will be extended to include breakfast also. This is proposed by the policy. And also that the focus will be on students mental health, and there will be deployment of counselors in the schools. There will be social workers who will be working in the schools. And the pedagogy will be innovative in nature. The teachers will be supposed to use mainly experiential learning. There will be integrated pedagogy, integrating arts, sports, and techniques like storytelling and ICT. Integrated pedagogy to be used to develop critical thinking, creativity, collaboration among the students. Then the promotion of peer tutoring will be the focus, and equal weightage will be given to all the subjects. No hard separation between the curricular and co-curricular and extracurricular areas. Lot of freedom for choosing a variety of subject combination. There will be bagless days, so students will enjoy these days, that they will not bring bags to the school. So bagless days to be scheduled in the academic calendar. And there will be integration of technology more and more, especially in classes 6 and 12, 6 to 12. Now, this policy also ensures that the students are empowered with flexibility. Therefore, in secondary schools, there will be choice of subjects to students. Students will have the opportunity to select the subjects that they want to learn, and there will be no hard separation between curricular, extracurricular, art, science, humanities, or even between occasional and academic streams. All the subjects, physical education, arts, crafts, occasional skills, in addition to science, maths, humanities. All these subjects will be incorporated throughout the school curriculum. And the policy also focuses that in integrating the curriculum, and there should be certain essential subjects, certain essential skills and capacities that should be introduced in schools, so that they have they are exposed to more skills and more disciplines and more subjects at their younger age, and they know what career choice to choose for themselves. So therefore, multiple skills will be embedded in the curriculum, and also introduction of the modern contemporary subjects like artificial intelligence or design thinking or holistic health, organic living or global citizenship education. All this could be introduced at relevant stages. The policy also proposes that mathematics and computational thinking, which is going to to really take us forward in our development, will be the focus in schooling also. Therefore, mathematics and computational thinking to be given greater emphasis in schooling and in education. And apart from this, the policy recommends that every student will take a fun course during grade 6 and 6 to 8. The fun course will include occasional crafts like carpentry or electrical, metal, plumbing, or gardening, pottery, etc., which is nothing but practice-based curriculum, which will be designed by NCERT. And they have also mentioned that at least 10 days bagless period should be there for 6 to 8 grade children, and which is like an internship with the local vocational experts. So they can visit the local vocational experts, or local vocational experts can come to the school, and they can learn from them. So 10 days of bagless period will also be a part of schooling. Apart from this, the other curriculum reforms include, the students should be exposed to the knowledge of India, the values, the culture, the heritage, the ethos of Indian tradition, and also engaging course on Indian knowledge system can be available for students, and as electives they can learn at secondary schools. And apart from this, sound ethical practices should be embedded, having focus on the values, because that's very important that in schools we should focus on values and ethical practices between what is right, and the child should be able to distinguish between what is right and what is wrong, and to make a proper decision. And the textbooks, the reduction of content, textbooks, reduction of content, in the textbooks there will be reduction of the content, and there will be scope for constructing knowledge. The Only when the content is reduced in the textbook, then the teachers may feel comfortable, and also the teachers will be given freedom to add local context content, which can be added using certain supplementary materials as they teach. Now, what are the language reforms? Language reforms, you must have already heard that the policy